Okay. Hope everyone can hear me right.
Yeah, we can.
Yes, Naveen, we can.
All right, fine. All right, guys. So I am Naveen, and I am working in one of a country that is one of a company as a technical architect, architecturing the enterprise applications and its testing artifacts and the testing architectures and all. I do provide the solutions for the enterprise applications, how they need to test and in which phases they need to test, and what are the different kind of testings they can perform so that they can leverage on the minimal time to the market. So this is what actually we have been doing, and I also doing some of an research in the space of an DevOps to bring in the AI and ML based solutions to the applications so that testing will be much faster than to the normal testing process. So this is all about me, and so here, as we have been here in this session you have been going to be work with me. Basically, it's a continuously interaction sessions of knowledge sharing, and we have been going to develop an entire test framework, the complete test framework, what exactly the current architecture needs. So this is all about me and the session. So anyone have any questions, or anyone want to share like and what exactly you have been looking out of this session?
Hey, Naveen.
Yeah, is
Hey,
it
thanks
Hari?
for your yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Thanks
hi.
for your introduction. So
Hi.
I'm primarily looking at understanding of the DevOps model, like basically to execute our
Mm-hmm.
automation suites whenever the build kicks in, like when builds deployed, and then
Mm-hmm.
I want to really uh, install. I mean, run my BVTs or like later on all those other suites,
Okay.
test automation suites,
Mm-hmm.
using the DevOps, Jenkins, and all those things. That's my primary goal, to understand how we can do all this stuff.
All right. Sure. So definitely we will cover that here. And there is an what is an okay. Soumya has asked about what is the expectations to attend the sessions and the prerequisite. See, as this is an the framework session, you should have a little bit understanding on the Java and the Selenium. So that's it. So if you have a background of a testing, it has been well and good, because that's the core of everything, the manual testing process. So rather than I say it as a manual testing process or anything, if you have a testing understanding, it has been well and good to easily understand this one. And technically, yeah, a knowledge on the Java and Selenium, a okay, a kind of a beginner level of understanding will be well and good for to attend this session. Did I answer your question, Soumya? All right. So anyone have any other questions? Fine. So whatever the Hari asked, so it's a combination of the process and the technology. So today's session we have been going to cover up on the technology, and later we dive into the process. So as we have been just going towards applications, so what is that actually the testing process we have been following, and what is exactly we have been going to work with the frameworks. So as Murli specified today, you might have seen about his um, the details which he have been formulated. So the details about today's session and also the entire course content we are going to cover about the framework. So basically, when we talk about the framework, there are the different kinds of the test frameworks are there. So what are the frameworks you guys know or you guys are aware about? um, Guys, let's keep it very interactive. You don't have to be restrict yourself, or there is nothing right or wrong here. Everything has been right here in this world.
TestNG and Maven,
Okay.
and then and I believe those are few which I'm
Okay.
aware of.
All right. So let me take it in the okay. Any others?
Yeah, Jenkins.
Okay, I'll just put everything here. Jenkins, TestNG, Maven, and okay, what else? What else, guys? Anyone else? Fine. So let me put it in this way. We are going to create a kind of a recipe. Okay, ingredients, and we require ingredients to create a recipe. So think in that way, and I'll help you out to ease out this issue, this is okay session, so that it will be very much easy for you to understand. Let's say I get a AUT. So what is AUT? AUT in our terminology, like in testing terminology.
Application under test.
Yeah. So we have an application under test. The first day, whenever we have been getting the application to test, to validate its functionality, to validate its end-to-end approach, or to validate its UI, we call it as an AUT, application under test. So this is as we have been called as a black box tester. We take this application, whatever it may be, into our black box, meaning it has been hidden from the, or it has been taken into the separate area, or area we call as an environment, where it doesn't have any link with the development team or any link with the development environment. So it is we have been testing in a separate environment, which we call as a stage environment, test environment, and all. So people who are aware of this staging testing environment is been fine, or else you just consider it as an it is an one environment. So okay, so now what we are going to do is, so this is how it is going to be work with AUT. Whenever we have been taking it to the AUT, in this AUT, this AUT into the environment, we need to test it. So first of all, to test automation, through the automation, I need to give the commands. So how can I give the commands? So how can I give the commands? How do I command? Through the language, right? So I need one language. So that's why we have a Java. But this commands, whichever you are giving, should be understood by this application. For example, if I say open the browser, the instead of you opening the browser, someone should open the browser for you. So that someone is called as a Selenium here, because it has a driver and it will do it. So I'll bring in that Selenium as well. Now, this Java and the Selenium is a library which sits into the Java program and executes it. When it has been executing, Java will have a capability to run the program as a classes only. So you will have a, whenever you will have a Java class, you will see the main program, which we call as a main method. So the main program that is called as a main class will have a main method in it, and then from there the test executes. So it is a test, or it may be the program for the Java. But on the other hand, when you want to write in one more program, you need to call it as another method. When you want to write another test, you need to call it as another method. But those will not be considered as a test cases, because you will not see as a test case. You will see it as a single class. So we are bringing in a small test framework here that is called as a TestNG, and we are utilizing all its capabilities, TestNG capabilities. Now, after using the TestNG capabilities, like its annotations. So what are we using here? Its annotations. These annotations will help us to easily execute the program, easily execute the test cases. So we are adding the flavor of the TestNG. Now, whenever the tests have been executing, the test will pass and test will fail. The moment the test fails, we need to see where exactly the test has been failed for our easy analysis, for our easy maintenance. So I want to bring in the one more ingredient called as a screenshot and report. So report, automatically TestNG will provides you a report, but To fancify, beautify our reports, we will go with the extent reports. There are many reports are there. So what are the report types you know, or what are the different reports you know? Are you aware of any of the different kinds of the reports? Anyone? Hello?
You mean these reports are something different than whatever we have in Azure DevOps and Zira?
Yeah. So these reports is just our complete, what I can say, our customization basically.
Okay.
So these reports are our complete our customization. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So that's what actually we have been going to cover. And now after this extent reports, then what we are going to do is these has to be run test case. Okay, all these test cases has to be run, but when it is running, we will see only the screenshot. But what happened in that particular section, or what happened in the particular line of code, we will not be able to know. So to know that, we need to log the each and every line of execution. So we implement the logs. So these logs will be of. Could someone please go on mute? Okay, I'm hearing a background noise. Murli, could you please? Okay, if others are not speaking, could you please mute them? Let them unmute when they were required. All right, thank you. So we will introduce the logs. These logs are from Apache logs. That is a log4j. Log4j. So these log4js, okay, will be there. As you have been seeing, it will be there in the all the um, programs, meaning all the application development programs. So now these log4j we are also including in our framework. So these are all the ingredients we have been adding, like these are all the smaller jars, libraries and all. So now logs also there, reports also there, and the screenshots also there. This will help us to easily analyze the failures in case the failure happened. If it is the pass happened also, if the test case succeeds also, then also what we will do, we will still have this log to see how the test has been executed, what is the data it contains, everything. Now coming to the next step, I want to run my test case where test case has been perfect, but I want to change the data. For example, login test case. So how many scenarios or how many set of the data you will validate on the login test case? So what are the scenarios you test on the login page?
Maybe like giving input like username, password, and then that's the valid test case.
Correct. So there will be minimum 15 to 20 set of data you can test with the login scenario. So test case will remains the same. Enter the username, enter the password, and click on the login button. But the behavior changes based on the data you provide. So data is, if it is a valid username and a valid password, what will happen is it will go to the login, that is home page. If it is an invalid username and the invalid password, it will stay on the same login page. Correct? So now this is how it happens. We are going to do single test case. That is, we will create a single test case, but we will parameterize the data. So this is called as a data-driven testing. So single test case run multiple times with a different set of the data provided. Now this data-driven has been very much important. And then for this data-driven, what we are doing is we can use any of the files to store the data. So few people in their company, they use the JDBC connection, meaning they use the external database like a SQL, Oracle DB, or MongoDB, or anything. Few uses the flat files, flat files like Notepad and all. Few uses the JSON. few uses the XML. Few have a most of them are relying on the Excel. So there is a JDBC, flat files, JSON, XML, and Excel files. So these are the kind of the file operations we do, and also few of them rely on CSV, comma separated value files. So all of these are the file formats. But these file formats help us with retrieving the data and passing the data into our test cases. So what we do is we have a different library. Maybe most of them have heard about like an Apache Py library for our Excel. So then JDBC connection. If you have been using the SQL, then we use the SQL libraries. If you have been using the Oracle libraries. Then flat files. The flat files is either you use it as an .NET, that is notepad files, that is a .txt files, or you use the word files or anything that we will discuss. Second one is a JSON files. So it's an JSON formatted files and the XML. So these all things. Now after including this, and what will be the next step? Just a second, guys. Okay, so we have used the Apache, that is data driven as well. What else actually we can make our add into our test framework so that the test framework will be more robust. So then we have been bringing in a concept of, okay, we exactly do the code shared in a shared model. So meaning shared model in the sense, I store this code and I work on the versioning. So the versioning of the codes can be done when can be distributed. So basically we want an SVN. So SVN tool we are bringing in, that is called as a GitHub. So we share our code, we keep our code everything in the GitHub, so that other persons can also access it and it can be contributed. So you have been getting the live experience of how the project works in the real world. So if you see in any of the company, in the real world, what they will do is many people who are working on the single project. Consider for it, two people who are working in a single project. So they share the code across, that is, they share the code among each other and they will work and they will keep modifying the files. So to do that, it will be need to be in a single common place that is called as a GitHub, and it will be there in the GitHub. Then after this, the GitHub, what we are going to do is I want to run our test cases as Hari said. I want to leverage on the DevOps and need to run my test cases early in the life cycle of the testing. So either it may be the DevOps or either it may be the Agile, wherever you wanna, whatever the methodology you specify or whatever methodology you follow. But early testing of the early testing is very much important when it comes to testing. That's why we got been going for the automation, and to plug in that we need to have a CI process. CI/CD, continuous integration and continuous deployment. So in this continuous integration and continuous deployment, we are bringing in a concept of called as a Jenkins. Jenkins. So this is a complete thing about your framework. And how, okay, any questions here? I'll just take a pause here and to know if you have any questions. Do you have any questions here? Is everyone good? We're able to understand?
CI/CD and Jenkins are for continuous integration, right? It's for build integration, right?
Correct, yeah. So now, if I want to achieve this CI/CD, I need to have my complete project to be under the build integration tool. The good thing you brought in. So that's why we bring in here the project itself called as a Maven project. So Maven is called as a build automation tool, and the project itself we create it as a build automation like a Maven. So Maven will be the project will be created in the Maven, and then on top of it we create entire project. So that will help us easy execution of the CI/CD in the Jenkins. So basically the CI refers to the continuous integration and the CD refers to the continued deployment. Okay. So here is the case. Today I have a login page created with username, password, submit button. So I have written the test cases. So my test cases is executed on this one, and it says like, okay, everything has been working fine. Tomorrow, developer gives me, along with the submit button, he also gives me the reset button. The moment he checks in his code, I want to check whether the existing test cases has been still working. I have written a test case for the login. I have written test cases, very simple example. Let's see here. So first day, I got it as a username, password, and the login button. Very second day, and first day I have already automated this, and for the login test case, I have got the test case covered. Tomorrow, they are going to deliver, or today they delivered along with the request OTP functionality. Before even this code, developer checks into the automation environment. Sorry, not automation, test environment. For testing, what I do is, the moment he checks in this code, the code needs to be get deployed into our QA environment. Immediately, my existing test cases will automatically trigger on this one, and it will check whether the username, password, and the login functionality is working fine. Because request OTP is a new functionality that we can do it in the system testing, but this existing functionality has been working fine or not, which we call as what? Testing the existing functionality is called as what kind of testing?
Regression.
Yeah. So we do the regression testing through this automation. So my regression tests should work fine and it should not fail. If it has been not failing, then I can say, okay, then I will allow my new code to come into my QA environment and I will test it. So that process, okay, that process, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do through the automation. So there, the continuation. Come again? You have any questions? Okay, that continuous integration happens. The integration means a new code has been integrated into the existing code. That integration happens. But while that integration has been happening, I need to confirm whether that has been working fine or not. That process is going to be handled, or that going to be validated through my automation. And that will be taken care by the CI tool. And that CI tool we are using is called as Jenkins. Any questions here?
I have one more question here.
Yeah,
Hello.
please.
Yeah, I do have added one more functionality like a request OTP. So we will not be going to execute the further test cases, right? Which are the after login. So we are not going to perform the regression in that case.
So what we are doing is, see, basically, if you want to take any of a new functionality, first what we do, we will check whether the existing functionality has been working fine or not. The new functionality, whatever it comes, is going to be tested in the system testing. Okay. But this existing, see, basically, when you give me a new functionality, existing functionality should not break. So there will be a high level, or there will be a smoke level test cases, which I write always. That test cases will check on this application, and it will suggest me, or it will tell me that, okay, whether all the functionalities has been working fine or not.
Yes. That is right. But if we are adding some another functionality, once after login, if we are adding some internal functionality, that is different. But this is the main page.
Okay.
It is at the entrance of the page only. So this must be tested, right? This is a blocker.
You can also, if you still require, what you can do it in the next phase. First, you validate this in the first level, and the moment you get, see, basically it is just like a checklist to allow you. What I'm telling is, developer has developed that code and he's trying to deploy that code into the QA environment. When he's trying to deploy that into the QA environment, you want to check whether the functionality has been working fine or not, existing functionality, and there is no breakage, okay, or there is no breaking changes are there. So for that, we have been doing this testing. Once after this has been confirmed, without testing this request OTP, you have been taking this code into the QA environment. Once after this code is deployed into the QA environment, then you have written a test cases. Those test cases will run on the key request OTP. You have written a OTP test cases for the request OTP that it will be get executed.
I got it, because it is optional one, our only, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
I
I
thought
think
it's mandatory one.
yeah, I think it's in this scenario, I feel that we are actually doing some kind of BBTs and then also regression to make sure that existing functionality is working before we even start our new functionality testing.
Exactly. Yeah. That's correct. See, and I know, like, okay, there is a kind of situations we face. Sometimes we even push our system testings ahead of this one. For example, if you follow the processes, so that's what I told you, like, and I keep it aside the process. So now it's a time to introduce you to the process. So the process is about like a TDD and the BDD. Maybe you guys have been heard of it. If you're not, okay, no wonder. So TDD refers to the test-driven development and the BDD refers to the behavioral-driven development. So what we have been telling in the TDD is I write a test cases first, okay, rather than to the development. So in many cases, okay, if you just take a step back and look back to the testing, how we were doing in the earlier stages is we were in the world of a waterfall, where entire product has been developed and provided to us, and then on top of it, we were doing the testing. Which testing? We were doing our entire QA testing processes. We were doing there. You know, the product has been given to you. You do the smoke testing, regression testing, everything, and then in a one shot you finally you give them, okay, these are the number of the bugs you have. Then slowly from there we moved into the agile process. Okay, there was a long way from the waterfall to the agile, and we are in an agile world. So where the testing and the development happens parallelly. So you write a test, okay, that is, you develop a code, immediately I'll test it here, and I'll check whether the functionality has been working fine or not. Then now we are in a world where we write a test cases even before the development happens. So do anyone agree with me or disagree? Is it true or not?
No, that's correct actually. So we normally write the test cases even before the development starts.
Okay, so when I say this, the test cases writing even before the development happens means the automation test case. Of course, the manual test cases we write it. Okay, even before the development happens, we write a manual test cases. I agree, but the automation test cases is what actually I'm specifying here. I write an automation test cases ahead of the development. You know, this login page is there. I haven't developed the login page at all, and this main section is there. I haven't developed the main section at all, but still I will visualize like and how the main section will look like and how the login page will look like, and I have automated the test cases for it. Now,
But I have a question here. Like when you say you actually develop the automation test case, but how do you really, like, when you don't have the object, like when objects present in the system, how do you?
That's really good question. So that's where we have been coming to the concept called as an TDD. And how many of you are true that is truly following the agile, meaning true agile here?
Yeah, we are following in our
Agile. So how many others are following agiles? Okay, guys, who are been not um, in the that is in the world of an agile, that's fine. That's not a problem. So that is not the base for this course, but I'm just telling you. So in the agile, 90% of 90% of us we follow the Scrum. 20% of the people, they follow the Kanban. Anyone follows other than these two?
Safe.
Safe is safe 4 is basically safe 4 and safe is an advanced of an agile, meaning it's an agile itself advanced, meaning the next version of agile, which we call as scrum of scrums and all we bring in.
Yep.
But in the scrum, that is in the agile itself, we have an the methodologies like one is in scrum, other one is called as in the Kanban, and there is one more powerful thing is there. So where it's a kind of a methodology that will tell you about okay, what exactly and how exactly and where exactly the testing can pitch in. So that is called as a pair programming. So you might have known or you might have heard about it, but this is about agile pair programming.
Yes, I heard about it, but I mean we never did that.
So as the picture depicts it, right? So this is how it works. So now what happens is in agile pair programming, both the developer and the tester sit together, and both are called as a queue. That is, both are called as developers. There is no concept of a tester and the developer. The moment you start writing the test cases, automation test cases, you are not even called as a tester, and you are a developer. Okay, so because you are also developing in a test codes. So what it happens is, it is just like a the birds. Basically, if you see, okay, if you wake up in the early in the morning and you go out to your terrace, and if you watch the sky, right, the birds will be flying there. So how the birds will be flying? It will be like a group of birds will be flying, but suddenly you can see the bird which is in the last will come to the front, and the bird which is in the front will go to the back, or the bird which is in the front, it will go back, and the next bird will come into front, and it will lead the entire thing to the destination where it exactly needs to go. So have you watched this one anytime? So why is that it happens, and how the birds it happens, right? See, the bird will be flying, and the one bird which is in the front, okay, it will be taking all the wind pressure, everything, and till some distance reaching, if it get tired, right, it will go back. So when it go back, okay, it will take its a comfort seat, and it will just need to follow the the direction. That's it. So the front one, whichever it is there, it will take again under the wind pressure, everything, and it will go to the direction. After that, what happens? It's a kind of the leadership skill. So here also the same thing happens. So when the two people are been sitting together and they have been coding it, so what it happens is the one person will be coding and the next person will be not instructing, the providing an ideas. So this is what actually we follow when we have been coming to the test-driven development process. So what will happen is we provide them the what is the IDs we require. Suppose if it says, say for example, the men is in drop down. I will just specify it as an I need a drop down. Sorry, I need a ID called as an ID underscore men, or I need a drop down called as an drop down underscore men. So ID will be whatever IDs you specify. This will be provided by the developer. So your program, whenever you have written it with your assumptional IDs, the same will be provided to the developer to add it into his code. Immediately when he has completed development of the screen, immediately when you run your test cases, it will run on this one without any failures. So did I answer your question? So how we are achieving this? Hari?
Yes, it did.
All right, guys. So, okay, now let's come back to our course content and what we have been covering here. So these are all the things which we cover in today. That is the complete session. And to see how the project look like. So this is what actually the project will look like. So I have a hybrid framework here. And if you see my screen, you are been seeing it as another project with an M. The M refers to the Maven project. So the Maven project structure will look like this. So here is what actually we have a Maven. So Maven is a build automation tool. So we brought in the Maven. So one thing to identify whether it is a Maven project or not is we have a pom.xml file. And then we have a GitHub. Yes, we push this code into the GitHub. So that's why you have been seeing my code here in the GitHub. So GitHub Maven KS hybrid framework. So we have this framework here. There is a code. And then we have introduced the Apache Py. So that is a test data as XLS. So the XLS data is here, meaning we have been consuming the data from the Excel sheet. So we are using the Apache Py. That is called as a data driven. And we have a logs. Yes, the logs will be. And this is the test.log, and the log file will be created like this. And then we have a reports. Yes, we have a extent reports here, and that extent reports will look like this. So how many tests, how many passed, how many failed, and in which environment it has been passed and which environment it is failed, and what is the environment we have been running. Every details will be provided in a pictorial representation, and how much of the time it has taken to execute the test, the start time, end time, total number of tests, passed, failed will be provided.
And we are not able to view your screen actually. It's a blank screen.
So? Oh, okay. 1 second, guys. Sorry for that. How about now?
Yep, it's showing.
Oh, okay.
Thanks.
All right. So I'll just repeat it. So I was just showing this one. Okay, this framework here, and this is the extent report. And in this extent report, you can see like how much time it has taken to pass, fail, and how many tests has been run, everything. And then we have a screenshots taking. So yes, we do capture the screenshots, and we will put it here. The screenshots, the test, that is the moment the failure happens. It's up to you. Okay, it's up to you if you want to capture the screenshot for the each and every test step, or you want to capture the screenshot only for the failure one. So the screenshots have been here. And then the test engine annotations, obviously the test engine library has been added here. So that's why you've been seeing the test engine library here. And then the Selenium Java we have introduced is, and this is the page object model framework we have created. And within this page object models, so just to show you, so we have a different tests. One is the data provider tests. So where we get the data from the Excel sheet and we use it. And then we use the test engine here, and we have been also accessing the data from the Excel sheet, and we are also accessing the data from the XML file. And also what we are doing is we are also parameterizing the data. So this is all about like the entire framework which we have been going to work with, and we have been going to create. Also, the last one is called as a CI/CD. So the CI/CD works in this way: localhost colon 8080. I have hosted the Jenkins in my local machine, and you should be able to see now. Yeah, so I have created the jobs here. So this is my Jenkins console, and I have created the jobs here. And whenever I want to run a test case, so I have just created this build. So what I do is I'll just execute it. So in which environment it needs to execute and what's the type of the test it needs to execute. So I have a smoke test case, regression test case, and end-to-end test cases. And I have environments called as a prod environment, stage environment, and dev environment. So I'll just select it's a prod and the smoke, and then execute. So the test will get executed here. And yeah, the test will keep executing as it is smoke test cases. It will execute quickly. So this is all about one test. I have scheduled it for the smoke. You can see this one, and there is a 0 failures, and it has been executed. So this is how it will look like, guys. Any questions here? All right. Now that I have provided you like what exactly we have been going to learn, just want to understand is your requirements has been matching this framework sessions, and what is the coverage, like what is the coverage we have been giving? So that does it actually covering your requirements?
Yes, pretty much for me at least.
Okay, so others. So I'm not hearing from the many of you guys. So guys, please make yourself comfortable to talk, okay, or just replay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, what is that actually? When you say it's an okay, what is that? Is actually it has been missing, or what expectations has been not meeting here?
It's not like not meeting anything. It is fully covering all the things mostly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and the good thing about this one is these frameworks you can go and implement in your um, office project. So your project directly starting from the day one itself. So the day one itself you can start implementing this project, sorry, the framework, and you can bring in the different kinds of the scenarios, like and how we can automate this. So because every application has its own kind of the challenges, and those challenges, okay, if you have been interested, when you have been trying to implement on your projects, and if you get stuck with any of the challenges, and we are here to help you to just to unblock that, so that as the classes keep going on, you also keep building the test framework, and you can showcase that in your office as well.
And Naveen, you were doing some configuration like a sanity, this kind of sanity and regression. So that configuration where you will manage,
What is it? Come again? I didn't get you. Your voice is
you were doing some configuration like a sanity regression, right?
exactly.
While doing so that configuration where you will manage in Maven, or where you will manage configuration.
Okay. So basically, that configuration will be there in our Maven, meaning our config file. That config
Okay.
file basically go to the test ng. So I read that. Okay, if you see here,
Miss under profiling only, right?
correct, correct. So what I do is I'll just, if you see here, these environment variables and this type of small testing, each testing in test ng, that is sorry, in the test ng, we will have a test type, and this will again contributes to the test cases. So which has been tagged as an okay smoke, that is which is sorry grouped as an smoke regression and the end-to-end test cases in the test staging. So I just pass through this one, so as an environment variable, and and it will read through it, and it will go to the test ng, and then the test ng will trigger this one. Okay.
So this parameter will be set in test engine, smoke or E2E like that.
Exactly. This parameters will be set in the test engine, and it is passed to the test engine.
Under pom.xml only, right?
What is that?
Under pom.xml it will be set.
It will be to the test engine.xml.
Okay.
So we have here a test engine.xml. You can see here at the left hand side. Test engine.xml. This one. This will take these parameters. This will take its parameters. All right. Any other questions, guys?
Actually, we are struggling with something like
What is it?
yeah,
Your voice is very low. I can't able to hear you.
yeah. This is a general question. Like how fast we can able to uh, get the XPath from the object or a web page.
All right. So how fast we can execute and get the XPath, rather than I can answer you in this way. How soon my XPath will be get executed, so my performance of the test case will be get increased. Maybe is that the right question? Like, is that the question which you have been trying to ask me?
Yes, actually, some XPath when we ran it in the second time, it is getting failed or something like that.
Mhm. Okay. So basically, there is a techniques are there. There are different techniques are there which will help you out for understanding, okay, and identifying the XPaths. So along with the XPaths, we also bring in the some of the customized XPaths. So we are not going to directly take the XPath. Okay. So we will take an XPath, okay, the customized XPath, and we customize it.
Okay.
Okay, that will not fail unless and until the element is completely has been changed.
Okay. Okay.
So now whatever the XPaths you guys are taking, maybe it is dependent on the location. So the moment it will changes its div, that is a div or the span or anything, it will fail. But after the customization of the XPaths using there are the techniques are there. When we use that, even though the element has been changed its location, if it has been element is available, then it will still, what it will do is it will still going to able to identify it.
Okay.
Unless and until, okay, this is like just like this, guys. I have a login button. So the login button, for example, consider this cart button is there. This cart button is at the right hand side of the page. I'm moving this cart to the left hand side of the page. Now
Okay.
if it is an ID is there, it will work even though the cart has been available here. In any place, in any part of the page, it will work. But if you take it as an XPath, it will fail. But even in XPath, if you do the customized and then you take it, even this the cart has been placed in any place of an page, this will still work. Okay.
Okay.
So there's a customization techniques is there that we need to do.
Okay. Okay.
All right, guys. All right,
Okay.
what was,
Thanks, Naveen. Thanks. Thank you very much.
yeah, you're welcome, guys. Okay, what was the other question? I was not hearing you. All right, guys. Okay, so that's it from my end, and over to Murli. So Murli, you there? Murli, you are on mute, I believe. Okay, just a second, guys. I'll bring in Murli. Yeah, so Murli will be here, and Murli, over to you.
Hello. Hey, hi guys. Hey, thanks, Amin. Thanks for the session. Guys, actually, today's session we have recorded it over there, and then after that, if any documents are there, Navin will be sharing. So the session topics and all those things we will be sharing with you. And as discussed, actually, what the sessions we will be making it in an interactive way. That means it's not Navin alone will be actually what doing in the machine, and then it will go. So it is works in a way. For example, Navin will be asking you guys to share the system. Then after that, actually what through the GitHub, you will be actually what doing some check in, check out, and all those things. After that, actually what again Navin will be sharing, another person will be sharing, and then how to review the code. Like those sessions will be going on, and framework also actually what will be going in there. So today and tomorrow alone, it will be like a 1 hour session, and then from the next weekend onwards, actually what it will be a 3 hour session. So fully it'll be interactive, and then make sure every day on that week itself you try to practice it the same thing whatever he gives to you, assignment and all those things, so that within actually what couple of weeks, 3 weeks over there, you'll be very good on framework sessions, everything. Okay, that's the thing. And I just want your mail IDs before you log out, so that actually what I will be sharing the code and then the materials and then the recordings to you. It will be good actually what if you can share your Gmail ID. If you can just share, I'll just ping you right now. If someone has not shared your mail ID or something, please share to me and then your mobile number to me. And then after that, I'll be forwarding you the account details also. So for the newcomers, then you can actually what share your um, amount over there. Okay. So any questions from anyone?
Hey Murli, Samir here. I missed the last part. Did you say like how long is this class? Like
Yes. So the session will actually what totally is planned for 16 hours. So hopefully actually what it will come for the totally including this week, it will be a 4-week session.
Sure. Okay.
It depends on actually what also the doubt clarification and all those things over there. So we are just thinking it will go for 4 weekends totally. That answers your question for you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good. Okay. Okay, guys. Thank you. So if you guys can actually what you can log out over there actually what once you have given your details. Otherwise, just please share your email ID and then the mobile number so that I will just forward to you. So from next week onwards, actually, what it will be an what is it, a chargeable session. So today and tomorrow it's like a demo for you to understand. So from next week onwards, actually, what only the paid members will be there in the session. Okay. So tomorrow still actually what you can access the same link for the tomorrow session also. Okay, it'll be the same link over there.
Is it the same time?
Same time, 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. to actually what 9 a.m. Indian Standard Time.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thanks again.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm stopping the recording over there. So